Thinking about making Grand Rapids your new home? Well, before you pack your bags and head on over to Beer City, USA, every city has its quirks, and Grand Rapids is no exception. Now, in this video, I'll be talking you through 10 things to know before moving to the Grand Rapids area. Let's get started. Now, reason number 1, don't skip your research. Now, why should you not skip your neighborhood research? Well, each neighborhood in Grand Rapids has a different demographic and different amenities to it. From the quiet urban environment of downtown to the quiet leafy streets of neighborhoods like Ottawa Hills. Understanding the demographic, personality, and amenities of each neighborhood can greatly impact how you feel about your home. Now, reason number 2, avoid buying without inspection. I always advise my clients to get an inspection done by a licensed inspector, and you may be asking, why? Well, in older areas of Grand Rapids, such as Midtown or Heritage Hill, the homes are significantly older, and some have electrical issues, foundation problems, or maybe an old leaky roof. And as a home buyer, you're not really going to want to deal with that, right? So I always say, get a licensed inspector. Even sometimes, depending on how old the home is, you can have it test for radon. And radon is an invisible gas that comes through the floors of homes. And so yeah, I would highly recommend do not avoid without having an inspector through the home. Number 3, don't underestimate post-closing costs. Now, you have the closing cost, you have the initial down payment, but after that, it really starts to add up. Now, what I would recommend if anyone is worried about big things like a furnace going out or an AC going out, I'd recommend getting a home warranty or at least some way of working that into your budget to at least get one to cover the big things, right? Now, what you can do is you can set aside like a little bit of a budget, almost like an emergency fund, but what you really should do is try to look up maintenance. You should try to look up the tax area. There's some areas, if they have older homes, sometimes the taxes actually might be higher. So it's always good to have some type of a fund or at least some type of a backup plan just in case. Now, we're on to number 4. Avoid a hasty purchase. Now, that being said, it is a very competitive market and a lot of people are bidding on homes, which makes it kind of almost a race. But you would want to do your due diligence and make sure that house at least ticks off 70 to 90% of the things that you want, because buyer's remorse is a thing. And if you get into a property and you get that nagging feeling that maybe this one wasn't the right one, it's common, but you should always make sure you want to have a home with most of your needs met, at least long-term needs met. You know, looking ahead 5-7 years, as long as it meets those needs, yours should be fine. But avoid getting into a rush, getting into anything too fast, because buyer's regret is a thing, and sometimes maybe it was the wrong choice. All right, now we're onwards to number 5, about halfway through. Number 5 is don't ignore future development plans. Now, the reason why you might be thinking, why shouldn't I ignore future development plans? Well, let's say you get a home and it's relatively, let's say you have a few acres across from you or something, like something within the next 3 miles, right, of your home. Let's say they had a water treatment plant there, and sometimes the air doesn't smell that great. That's gonna negatively impact the value of your home. Now, let's say if they decide to build a school near your home, that would greatly impact the value of your home because it's near a school. It's near something that people value and what people want. Now, that being said, I would recommend check with the City of Grand Rapids Planning Department when it comes to these type of things to see if there's going to be any zoning changes or if there is any planned development going to happen in your area, because that can greatly impact the value of your home as well. Now we're on to number 6. Number 6 is a relatively common thing, but a lot of people overlook it, and it's don't underestimate Grand Rapids snowfall, and that goes for a wide vast of Michigan, right? Do not underestimate the snowfall here, because it may be December or November and we're not getting a whole bunch of snow, but January and February, you got to be on the lookout because we will get dumped on with snow. And being prepared is something that you should be when it comes to snowfall in Grand Rapids, because it might not seem like it's going to be bad, and then it is, and it catches you off guard. So always prepare for snowfall. You're going to need hats, gloves, ice scrapers, a lot. Hand warmers even. Like, it gets cold outside, and it gets shockingly cold outside, even when you're not expecting it. We have all 4 seasons here. In winter, it is very bad sometimes. It can be nice and warm, but that's a very, very rare occurrence. So don't expect that to happen in Grand Rapids anytime soon. It gets very cold in the winter, so be prepared with gloves, snow pants, big coats, again, hats, just anything snow related you can get your hands on, basically, when it comes to keeping yourself warm, keeping your home warm, having better insulation. You know, some people offer new windows or something to really prepare yourself and your house. Having a car that is snow ready. Like, it's not snow ready in particular, but it can handle the snow, it can handle itself, and because the roads also do get bad. So keep that in mind. Now we'll move on to number 7, and that's don't underestimate the downtown traffic. Now, Grand Rapids may not be a huge city, but it is still a city, and traffic is still traffic, and no one wants to be caught up in traffic. And it's best you plan out a schedule, or if you can't, you gotta do what you can, because traffic is traffic, and Grand Rapids traffic is still traffic. Let's be honest, no one wants to be stuck in traffic and want to deal with all that stuff. So be warned, traffic is traffic in Grand Rapids, and it may not be the worst, but it's also not the best. Don't get the assumption that you don't need a car. Grand Rapids is still very much a car-oriented city, even though there are, there is public transportation and there is very little things to get around. It's not necessarily New York City because, it is relatively small. So it's very much a car-oriented city, and especially if you want to get around to certain areas and you want to explore more, I would definitely recommend getting a car, or at least having a car, to be able to go see those other things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see on public transport. And kicking us down to the final 2 is number 9. Don't skip out on local cuisine. Local cuisine is fantastic, especially local produce. And there's a bunch of fast food places, but honestly, don't skip out on the local cuisine, because sometimes the hole in the wall can be your go-to place. There are plenty of hole-in-the-wall bars, restaurants, places that you wouldn't even take a second look at, but those places are some of the best places in the state by far. Me and my friends, we have a local spot. It's called the Swan Inn. You really wouldn't take another glance at it because it really doesn't look like much, but on the inside, that's where it counts. The food there is so good, and yet it mostly goes unnoticed. I'll be honest. It mostly goes unnoticed, and a lot of people drive by it, and it is one of the best places. Me and my friends love it. So don't skip out on local cuisine, because that cuisine is fantastic. And some of the local bars have the best beers. Don't take it from me. I personally don't drink, but from what I hear everyone else say, the beer here is pretty good. Now, we round this out with number 10, and that's don't underestimate the weather. If you're planning anything outdoors, trust me, do your best, or do what you can to always look at the weather app or anything weather related in the state of Michigan, because especially in the Grand Rapids area, mainly because it is so unpredictable, our weather here. And sometimes it could be a nice shiny day and give it 5-10 minutes and it could be the worst storm ever. Like, it is night and day what can happen in the span of 10-15 minutes. So always be prepared, especially if you're playing something outdoors, to have a backup plan, because no one wants their plans ruined by an unforeseen storm that came literally out of nowhere. So that is my list of 10 things you should know before moving to Grand Rapids. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. So if you have any questions, comment down below. And if you see any value in this, please don't be afraid to follow me. Or if you want to, you can book a call. Thank you so much. See ya.